Now, I've been in this fandom for a long time. Well, not really. I was first in the fandom around 2014, but you know, being like, what, 10 years old, I fell out of it for a while, okay? Can you blame me? But then I joined back right as G5 was beginning. But right now, that's besides the point. I've been in this fandom for a long time, and there is a lot of arguing back and forth about certain topics. And sometimes, man, these topics can get quite heated. Like me, in this car right now. It is a lot of heat in this car right now. Today I will be discussing one of these topics, known as shipping. Well, maybe not all of shipping as a whole, right? More aptly, we are covering the canon ships within MLP, aka the ships that made it into the show. Now, what is shipping? Well, to put it very bluntly, making two characters kiss, making a romantic pairing of characters who usually aren't in the show romantic towards one another. Fun fact, apparently the term shipping came from, of all places, the X-Files fandom. Okay, number one, I am incredibly surprised that X-Files has a fandom at all. And number two, who the hell is shipping characters from the X-Files? That would be like me shipping Melina Evans and Sammy Brady from The Days of Our Lives, a Midwestern drama that began in 1965 and is one of the longest running North American dramas ever. The point is, why would you ship characters from a drama? I don't know, it's weird. But never mind that. We're actually here to discuss ships that actually made it into MLP. And there are actually more than a few. I'm just taking periodic breaks to open up the door and let air in because my windows don't work. Good lord, I will be so happy when I can record in my house again. You have no idea. Should I start talking in this voice? I feel like I really usually put on a YouTuber voice whenever talking about anything, but let's try using my normal voice for once. Hold on. I know in the beginning of the video there's a little prompt that says don't take my word too seriously, but this time I really mean it. The vast majority of these ships are not canon, or just at least really heavily hinted at. There's only one ship on this entire list that has 100% confirmation that actually exists, and that's it. Every other ship was just heavily hinted at within the series or confirmed with outside of MLP. Okay, I feel like that's enough of my normal voice. Let's go back to the YouTuber voice. The first ship is none other than Applejack and Rainbow Dash. Apple Dash. Apple Dash is probably one of the absolute most favorite ships in the fandom. One of the longest lasting ones too. And like I said earlier, it's one of the ships that was both heavily hinted at in the show and outside of the show. Now we could sit here all day and point out every single little instance of Applejack and Rainbow Dash interacting with one another, but I think if I were to do that, I would need a doctor. Instead, let's skip straight to the season 9 finale. And going after the time skip once again, where something really interesting happens. When Twilight summons the Friendship Council to the castle, Applejack and Rainbow Dash come through the door together. And what are they bickering about? That's right, they're bickering about doing chores on the farm? Why is another car pulling in? If I haven't explained it just yet, I'm back in the church parking lot again, and once again, when I first pulled in here, there was nobody, but after I pulled in here, cars are just making their way down here, I guess. It was funny the first time when somebody said to come say hi to me. It's not funny the second time. Why is his blinker on? So Applejack and Rainbow Dash come through the door together, bickering about chores on the farm of all things. Very, very interesting for people to be arguing about chores on another person's farm, isn't it? Could they be, you know, living together for some reason? Maybe, you know, I'm not saying married or dating, but I am saying married or dating if you catch my drift. But I guess you could technically argue that they're just roommates, right? That's the excuse they all use, right? Oh, they're not dating, they're just roommates. They're really good roommates. Which I guess you could argue, but at the same time, Rainbow is a wonderbolt, and she was able to afford an entire Cloud Manor, a mansion, when she was just a lowly weather office worker guy. So if Rainbow Dash could afford an entire mansion while being a weather worker, she could absolutely afford not to live with Applejack. So I don't know why they'd be living together unless, you know, they were, you know, dating. That, or for tax reasons, which honestly I can relate. Yeah. I'm just saying, I'd get married to pay less taxes too. But like I said earlier, there's just something that was also confirmed outside of MLP as well. Well, maybe not, you know, outright confirmed by Hasbro, but was basically confirmed by everybody but Hasbro. Alicia Ball, the voice actor for both Applejack and Rainbow Dash, went on record before and posted a picture of Applejack and Rainbow Dash kissing in reference to World Pride Day. There is also a whole host of things from outside of MLP that directly confirms it. Especially the leaked notes for The Last Problem, where they literally wrote in the notes that they wanted to wink at the fact that Applejack and Rainbow Dash were now a couple. Anyways, I could go on forever and ever in all of the different ways that they confirmed Applejack and Rainbow Dash being a couple in FIM, but I'm not going to, because I'm cool like that. But if you were to say that there was absolutely no way Applejack and Rainbow Dash were together as a couple, you're blind. I'm just saying it right now. Okay, cool. It looks like that orange car is leaving, so now I can open up this door and leave it open. Oh my god, it's so much better. That airflow is so much better. It was so hot in here, guys. Now, let's move on to the next couple. Rarejack. Now, you might be thinking, putting these two on the list seems like blasphemy. How could Applejack and Rainbow Dash be canonized, but also Rarejack? Was Applejack double dipping?
New idea. Adultery.
Well, no, because Hasbro found a really creative way to let the fandom have their cake and eat it too. There goes my Minecraft poster. Well, I say Hasbro found a creative way to let people have their cake and eat it too, but it was more like Katrina Hadley. Well, maybe not Katrina Hadley exactly. Maybe it was more the production. Katrina Hadley gets the credit a lot, but let's say the production for this, okay? Like I said earlier, you may know there's shipping wars in the fandom. Some people will genuinely be absolutely disgusted that somebody else would ship different characters than them. I'm just saying, that's stupid. Let people ship whatever they want to, man. Unless it's morally corrupt. In that case, don't. What? Oh my god! I have an armrest! What? I had no idea this was here. That's awesome. Anyway, like for instance, one person will ship Twilight and Rainbow Dash together, and that person just cannot believe somebody else would also ship Twilight and Pinkie Pie. That sounds crazy to say out loud, but it's true. It happens. All Apple Dash shippers are disgusting. I've seen that happen quite a bit. So the production behind Equestria Girls found a really creative solution to this problem. Shipping wars here, shipping wars there. Let's just let everybody be happy, okay? The pony variants can get Apple Dash, while the human variants get Rarejack. Because there's two sets of the main 6 in FIM. There's the main pony 6 and the main human 6. Or I guess human 7 at that point, but whatever. So the humans get Applejack and Rarity, and the ponies get Apple Dash and Rainbow Dash. So if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Rarejack, literally go watch the Equestria Girls special known as Roller Coaster of Friendship. It's been kind of lukewarmly received by the community. I think it's actually one of the lower rated things in Equestria Girls. But if you watch it, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say they were totally internally shipping Rarejack. The entire special is basically summed up just the production trying to ship Applejack and Rarity, but not being able to say they're doing it. I talked about this before in a previous video, but I still really think that in some way, maybe the original vision for Roller Coaster of Friendship was Rarejack, but they had to change it due to corporate demands, corporate pressure. Maybe. I think Katrina Hadley has went on record to say that internally they were Rarejack shipping while writing that episode. But if you're frustrated that only the human counterparts got together and not the pony counterparts, don't worry. The production was also sprinkling breadcrumbs with, my god, sprinkling breadcrumbs within FIM just for you. In the Season 5 episode, Made in Manhattan, we get to see a scene of what looks like Applejack and Rarity discussing business at a kissing booth. Now, in the episode, it's not actually a kissing booth, it's a friendship stand, and it's also very obviously a Peanuts reference, because Rarity literally says, "Good grief," in the beginning of the scene, but I mean, it's a stand with a picture of Applejack and Rarity with a heart. I mean, it's literally a kissing booth, right? The ponies are walking by because they think Rarity's gonna snob them. Is snob the right word here? I need to Google what snob actually means. Hold on. A person with exaggerated respect for a high social position. I do not think I used that word right. Now, for this next one, it's actually really interesting, because this wasn't just like a ship that was maybe hinted at within the show, or maybe spoken about behind the scenes. This is the only ship on this list that was actually genuinely 100% directly confirmed within the show. And if you're gonna sit there and argue that, no, it wasn't really confirmed, get your fucking eyeballs checked. It was 100% confirmed within the show. If you haven't figured out already, this is the ship Lyra, Heartstrings, and Bonbon. They're one of the fandom's absolute earliest ships, because they appeared standing next to each other quite frequently within the show. And yes, back then, all it took was for two characters to be next to each other for the shipping wars to begin. But it's true. Interestingly enough, this is one of the ships that Hasbro seemed to kind of directly encourage, as they kept frequently appearing next to each other more and more and more as the series went on. And eventually they got an entire segment within the Season 5 episode Slice of Life as their freaking friends despite one of them being a monster hunter or some shit. I don't know. I think the subtext got lost on me in the episode. And now at the very end of FIM, the very last episode, the last problem, they finally canonized their relationship. They showed them in the newspaper getting married to one another. Now, I guess you could argue that they're not actually getting married to each other. Maybe it's like a double wedding or something, but like... No, no, I'm not even gonna entertain the thought. Yeah, fucking right. They're getting married to each other. I don't care what you say. Now, the last one is less of a ship and something that might surprise you. It's Derpy and the Doctor. If you don't know Derpy, read a book. But if you don't know the Doctor, I mean, I wouldn't blame you that much. Maybe just a little bit of blame, but I wouldn't blame you too much. The Doctor is a character from Doctor Who. He is a virtually immortal time traveler and a background character in MLP. Just kind of happened to look a little bit like his 10th incarnation, so now he's in MLP, I guess. But Derpy is one of the Doctor's most popular companion picks, aka somebody to go with him on his adventures. And Derpy was actually one of the most popular pairings with the Doctor, so much to the point that in the Season 5 episode, Slice of Life, we're going back to it again, I know, in the Season 5 episode, Slice of Life, they had an entire section with Derpy and the Doctor in it, where the Derpy and the Doctor kind of had to prepare for Gruntilda's wedding. I don't know if anyone else was like this when the episode aired, but for me at least, I so badly wish that the Derpy and the Doctor got together in the episode, or just was at all implied, because I was freaky like that, I guess. I honestly don't think Derpy and the Doctor was that popular of a ship. To me it was. I love that ship. But I just really wish that the Doctor and the Derpy got together in any meaningful capacity at all, other than the weird, tender hug they shared at the end of the episode. I was a little bit disappointed. I was even more disappointed to learn that in the Season 9 finale, it looks like the Doctor and Rose got together instead of Derpy. If you don't know who Rose is, Rose was the name of a Doctor Who companion who just happened to share the same name as some random-ass background character in MLP. So I'll admit it, I was a little salty, but I recovered, and I did eventually end up learning the truth as to why they never actually got together in the series, Derpy and the Doctor. Number 1, because they were not destined to be together. Number 2, because nobody was asking for it. Number 3, because it wasn't the time or place to ever put the relationship in the series. And number 4, because initially, the Doctor and Derpy were supposed to be siblings. That's right, in earlier drafts of Slice of Life, the scenes focusing on Doctor and Derpy were going to play out a little bit differently. There was initially a scene where the Doctor was trying on a variety of outfits, and each outfit was supposed to look like one of his reincarnation's counterparts from Doctor Who, the series. But in the script, when the Doctor eventually settles on his outfit, they literally directly point out that the Doctor thanks his sister, Derpy. Now, to be fair, in the final episode, there's nothing that really implies this relationship, so it's not exactly canon. And it shouldn't be treated as such! But if you were to go rewatch Slice of Life, I mean, let's be honest, it makes more sense. Slice of Life, their interactions make a lot more sense when you rewatch it thinking that they're siblings. Like, why the hell is the Doctor and Derpy out randomly getting drinks if they're not in a relationship? And why is the Doctor so keen to go help Derpy for no reason? It's because they're siblings. So when the Doctor chooses Rose in the Season 9 finale, it makes more sense as to why he didn't choose Derpy, because it would have been a little fucked up. I've told people this bit before, where initially they're supposed to be siblings and might still be siblings in the final series, and I've gotten really mixed reactions. Some people are like, oh yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Versus people who are going just straight up, ugh, not my ship. I'm actually on the side that I kind of like that relationship, that they're siblings, so fight me on that. And I think that's about enough to wrap up this video. Of course, like any good topic, there is always more to talk about. I could talk about Starlight and Trixie for days. I mean, every episode they're in is so gay-coded. And I could talk about Fluttercord, which is also another ship that was kinda-ish confirmed within the comics and the finale, but I think I'm about done talking for today. Update on the Cadillac, it is almost completely 100% roadworthy. I've fixed the wheel bearing and I fixed the missing cylinders. It is smoother than butter on a baby. That sounded fucking weird. They also have to do in the Cadillac is replace the front struts, because they really do. You can feel every bump on the road, man. But if you want to fund the Cadillac, I have memberships open. It's only $5 a month. Please subscribe and do those memberships to support this Cadillac. Remember to subscribe. Remember, kids, always intolerance, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
I bite at the hand that feeds me. Slap at the face that eats me. Some kind of animal cannibal made impressions on me.